Now that I pulled the palette, I was like, huh, I did not see this coming. Well, hello my lovely nestlings and welcome to today's video where I'm going to chat about my 10 most used eyeshadow palettes. These are the palettes that I use when I'm not filming, in one capacity or another. And if you are new, welcome, my name is Nikki, I'm 45, from the Netherlands, hence the accent. And if you love makeup just as much as I do, if you want to hear someone talk about brands that you have never heard about before and that no one else is talking about, if you just want to be entertained, and if you are slightly orcish, then this is the channel for you. Subscribe now, become part of my nestlings, because we are having a blast here on the internet. Yes, let me explain the slightly orcish. It means olive. And I think that is kind of, looking at everything that I pulled, it's not really weird that I pulled these, because these are just stunning for an olive complexion. I have quite a substantial collection. This is my job and I love collecting makeup as well. So I'm a raven, I love the shiny things, but I'm also born in the year of the dragon, so I love my sparkly hoard. But these are palettes that I grab for when I'm not filming, which is not often. There are also palettes that I grab for specific reasons, and I will explain that in just a little bit. I have done, I've done videos with them all, but I'm just going to chat and I will leave them down below where you can find all the palettes. Now that I pulled the palettes, I was like, huh, I did not see this coming. Now, if you're new, I love colorful eyeshadow. I love colorful eyeshadow. However, I am also allowing myself to love neutral eyeshadows. Remember that. Just saying. But yeah, let's just start with the one that I have on top, which is one of the is it the newest palette that I have in my collection? I think actually it is. Yeah, so that's kind of fun as well. Let's start with this one from Natasha Denona, the Mini Metropolis. When I saw this one sneak peeked, I was like, I really, really want this. Now, I had tried her formula before, which was the Mini Lila. I was not a fan. Honestly, I was not a fan. And then I saw this release and I was like, I really do want to try this. And I love the color story. And I'm so glad that I bought it, because I did a video doing 2 looks. And I find myself grabbing for this tiny little palette over and over and over again the last few weeks. And what do I usually do? You will be like, but you're using the green a lot. Well, actually, no. I know who am I. If you want to disown me, you have my blessing. What do? I use this one in the crease and then this one to deepen up and that one on the lid. That's what I do. And it is just so stunning. It is such a gorgeous combination with my olive complexion. And I am a light to light medium warm olive, but I'm on the delicate side. That means I'm more towards the neutral, but still on the warmer. Maybe that helps. I love the formula. This shade could have been any other. I actually, maybe this one I wanted to be a shimmer actually, because I don't use a shade like this often, so, but fine. I hoped that I would love this, but I did not expect it to love it as much as I do. It's just quick and easy. It's like me. Well, no, I'm high maintenance, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, let's go to the next palette. And the next palette is, I think, even the oldest that I have in my collection, which is then fun, the newest and the oldest. This is a palette that I think it was actually my first PR from the brand. But this is just this color story. I understand it now, because when I got this palette, I did not know that I was an olive. Now I do know that I'm an olive, and it all makes sense why that color story is just so appealing to me. It is the Nomad Malibu Quad. Now let me show it to you. So basically you have 2 mattes here. And then this one, it's more along the lines of a satin, and then this one is a little bit more of a satin than this one even. These 2 shades, I did not understand why they looked so natural on me. Why they basically, I don't want to say they faded away against my skin, but they were more giving me definition on my eye. That was the word I was looking for. So I have used this a crap ton since I got it, which is I think 2 years ago now. But usually I use these two, or I just do this one, or I just do this one, and then this one on the lid and this one in the inner corner. Now when it is summer, I also do that a lot, but I also just do a very, very naked eye, and maybe does this one very lightly in the crease so it has a little bit of definition, and then this one in the inner corner. I just love that pop of mint in the inner corner. You will hear that a little bit later on as well. This also, when my hair is my own color, I have kind of experimented with this one as a brow powder because it is not red. Because if I put anything slightly remotely warm red toned brow powder, brow wines in my brows, it immediately shows that I'm an olive. So yeah, so this is multifunctional for me. It's also, I can use this one as a highlighter. This is maybe out of them all my absolute most used palette. Could very well be. Yes. Next, I'm going to go by brand. So the next one that I have, I use the Crepton in winter. That's it. I used the Crepton in winter when I was not filming and I just wanted eyeshadow on. This was in winter the one that I grabbed for, and it's from Sigil Inspired. It's their Chinchilla palette, or her Chinchilla palette. What I usually did though, I used this one in the crease, this one to deepen up, and then I used this one on the lid. That's basically the look that I usually went for, and it is just so stunning. What can I say? The formula is amazing. I don't know if this one is in stock anymore. I don't know. I don't think the big one is. I think that the micro one is. I'm not sure though. But you can get all the shades as singles as well. So you can basically customize. Yeah, this I think has been I think it's a unicorn for a lot of people. I am very happy that I have it, and yeah, as I said, it is one of my most used, especially in winter. The next one that I'm going to mention is my most used of the summer, and that's her Naked Kitty Cat palette. This is a very, very light, kind of a neutrally color story, but also a little bit. Juvia's Place kind of did something similar with that lighter tones, but this one shows up on me. That one does not really, this one does. I can play with the undertones of these shadows as well, because if I use my Natasha Denona base, which on me, I have the medium, which on me is a bit more of a warmer one, so it pulls a little bit more orange. These go towards the, I then kind of want to say peachy side, because they are a little bit more orange then, a little bit more warm. When I use my Anastasia Beverly Hills primer, which is very cool toned, which for me turns kind of a pink / grayer. These ones pull pink, so I can really play with that. But a lot of the time, this one kind of faded away, but still was pretty because it gave me a hint of color. And then this one to very lightly deepen up the crease, and then this one in the inner corner, and then maybe this one on the lid or this one on the lid. And that one in the inner corner was a look that I have done so often this summer. Honestly, when I ordered this one, I thought, yeah, I will use it for a video and probably not a lot after that. But I was very, very pleasantly surprised by how often I have used this palette. If you are a cool toned olive, I think it's still pretty because the shadows are a little bit cooler. If you are deeper, if you are tan and up, let me know if you have it. I don't think that they will turn ashy on you, but I'm honestly not sure. So if you have this one and you are tan and up or medium and up, let me know, and let me know how it looks on you. Now, while I used this palette a lot, and then with the shade basically that I then popped in my inner corner, oftentimes I felt like it was not sufficient enough. So then I usually pulled in another palette that I'm going to show you now, which is from Oden's Eye. It is the Saga of Freya, the cat palette. So this one. The shade that I grabbed, well, actually two shades that I grabbed this palette for in summer a lot is this one. Because if it's hot as hell outside, I do very minimal makeup. But if I then kind of do makeup, I love to have basically a nude eye, a liner, and then a minty inner corner. So I used this one in the inner corner and then topped it with this one, for instance. Or I put a little bit more of a pop of orange in the inner corner and I use this one. What I also love about this is this combination. with the bright orange and the brown. There's just something about that. But yeah, oftentimes I grabbed this specific palette for this minty shade. And then in the inner corner. I also topped it off with the shade Bling. And then in the inner corner. Yeah, it was actually one of my go-to looks in summer, was that in the inner corner, a wing and then falsies. Yeah, that was, what can I say? The next palette is a palette that, fun fact, I actually grab for quite often. And it's not the most effortless that I have to work with. So I have to have a little bit of time to be able to play with makeup. And I actually recently pulled this one out again. And I used it, and that's the Oud palette from Oden's Eye. Can we just appreciate how this is looking? But also the color story. Now I'm very basic with this color story. Usually I start with this one, deepen it up with this one, and then do this one on the lid. However, if I want to make it a little bit easier on myself, I have to start with this one. The middle shades, honestly, I don't touch often. I do feel that the mattes that are in here are not their best formula. I think that the Diversa collection that I did, that's an amazing formula. And this is a good formula, but the shadows are maybe a little bit more stiff than the formula that they have now. I don't know if that's helpful, but this is a color story that I find very, very pleasing. This shade is stunning. It is quite fallouty though, so do your eyes first. But this whole color story, yeah, it's just not a slap on my face, I am done in 2 minutes kind of eyeshadow palette. I need 10 minutes. Does that make any sense? Yeah. The next palette I'm going to pull is a palette that I grabbed for a crap ton, but a lot of the times it was again for one shade, and that is from Glam Shop. It's their Tzilone palette. It's actually, I think it was the first palette that I tried from them, and I fell in love with the brand. This is a color story that is so up my alley, but it's very, very easy to work with as well. The shade that I grabbed it for a crap ton is this one. And then topped it off with this one. So when I do, when I grab for the next palette that, well, the next palette that I will mention, a lot of the times I love it when I have a pop of neon in the inner corner, and then especially a neon yellow. Well, I just actually remember that I have a neon yellow. I don't know why I did not think of that, but I grabbed this palette. And then this shade on me is very, very neon-y. And then I topped it off with, sometimes I topped it off with this one, sometimes I topped it off with that one to get it a little bit sparkly. What I also loved to do was this one in the crease and then this one in the inner corner, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is also a palette that I grabbed for a lot. Okay, the next palette that I am going to mention is the palette that I use in combination with the Tzilone often, and also with the Saga of Freya often, not gonna lie, and that's the Blow and Smoke from Colourpop. I did not expect to use this palette as much as I have. Yeah, this is it. It's a monochromatic gray palette. What do? I'm very basic with this palette, so I go towards, usually I just start with this one, put that in the crease, deepen it up with the black, and then this one goes on the lid. That's basically it. That's what I do. And then I grab, either, if I stay very monochromatic, I go with this one in the inner corner, but usually a combination that I love with this is a neon yellow in the inner corner. What I also love is with a red. So what do then? I just grab a red shimmer from somewhere, but this in combination with a neon, kind of a neon yellow, and this one pulls a little bit more neon yellow on me. Yeah, that's, oh, I love that so much. I think that's stunning, honestly. Then a palette that I grabbed for a lot in springtime, it's the Sweet Talk palette from Colourpop. Now, my Sweet Talk palette has been changed up. I made it better. So I pulled out the two glitters that were in here. This is the shade Mary Jane from the, I think it's the Just My Luck palette. And this is the shade Trooper from the Good Sport palette. It's one of the only few shades that I really liked from that palette. And it made it just more cohesive for me. The shade Mary Jane I put in here because I love, again, also this kind of color story with that pop of that bright green. Now, unfortunately, for me, this kind of bright green pulls a little bit yellow. If I want to have this one more popping, oftentimes I go in with, for instance, the Tzilone palette and then that brighter green to put it underneath and then put that one on top to help it stay a little bit more green instead of turning a goldeny yellow, which it just does on me because it just, my face just wants to eat up the green that's in here. It's just not prominent, the base shade is just not prominent enough or something. I don't know what it is, but it is one of the palettes that I grab for often in spring, and then especially here those more, is it peach or is it apricot? I don't know, but that, yeah. The last palette that I'm going to mention is also from Colourpop, and it is kind of a boring ass palette. There is a complete collection of this, and I think that a lot of people out of the three find this one the least interesting. I thought that I would find this the least interesting, but honestly I have not really touched the other two that are in that collection. It is the Bambi Collection from Colourpop, and the Bambi palette is the one that I use the most. So yeah, I love this palette so much. I usually just go here, you know, do a warm crease, then deepen it up, and then this one either on the lid, or I'm doing an all matte look and put this one in the inner corner. This is also a shade that I pull in often when I'm doing another look and I just want a little bit of that golden yellowy. It's also right here. It's just a very fun little palette. I just love this palette so much. It's honestly, it is truly one of my most used. Yeah, that's why it's in this video, and I did not expect that. So yeah, basically what you can take away from this is, or at least what I take away from this is, I love me my greens, and I'm also kind of very much loving my warmer toned neutrals, kind of yellowy. I usually say, give me a mustard yellow and an olive green and you got me. And that is, I think, apparent in this. So it was very fun to see me kind of pulling the palettes, because I was like, yeah, and I love to wear color always, but I was like, I am not that basic when I am not filming. Well, apparently I am. There's nothing wrong with that, because I spruce it up always with falsies, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I was a lot more neutral than I thought I would be. Yeah, what can I say? If you have watched my Nomad Cosmetics looks with the palette that I'm wearing right now, the second look I went to the grocery store with. Just so you know. Again, it's linked underneath the card, so that's the other side of what I go out in. Just so you know. But yeah guys, this was it for today. Let me know some of your most used eyeshadow palettes. Let me know down below, and if you are still here, leave me the brown heart, if you can find it, or a fall leaf. That's also good. Just a, yeah. I am going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening. May your foundation always match your neck, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye guys.